Up next, we have an exciting panel on the future of cybersecurity, what investors are looking for. Our panelists are Carlos Moreira, founder and managing partner at 33N Ventures, Alicia Hanf, head of institutional ecosystem partnerships at LG Nova, LG Electronics, Damien Henault, managing director at ForgePoint Capital, and Cristobal Alonso, CEO of startup Wise Guys. Moderating the panel is Victoria Valbuena, head of Internationalización at INCIBE. Let's give a round of applause to the moderator and panelists.
Thank you so much, Maria Eugenia, and welcome everyone for the panel of what's the future of cybersecurity from what investors are looking for. Here in the stage with me are Carlos Moreira from 33M Ventures, Alicia Hanf from LG Nova, Damien Henault from ForgePoint Capital, and also Cristobal Alonso from startup Wise Guys. But instead of introducing them myself, I think they are very used to do the pitching, so I'm going to let them do their personal pitch to introduce themselves, what they do. And guys, in this introduction, please tell me why cybersecurity for you. Carlos, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon to everyone. So probably you already know 33N, despite being a recent brand. The team has been investing in the last 12 years in cybersecurity. We've deployed almost 200 million across almost 30 companies worldwide. So 33N is the global cybersecurity-focused fund, headquartered in Europe, actually in Spain, investing globally, internationally. We invest in companies that have at least 1 million to 10 million in ARR, and we help them become category leaders worldwide. The team has this track record of supporting these companies internationally, and in the past we have been able to back 3 unicorns. Why cybersecurity?
Why cybersecurity?
We actually don't see a world without cybersecurity right now. Right?
Good for us. INCIBE supports that vision.
It's so fundamental, right? Especially considering how the world is being digitalized, the needs that come with it. We don't see it happening without being backed by strong cybersecurity companies. We are seeing bad actors taking advantage of the most advanced technologies to do attacks, to commit fraud. And so we think we really need strong companies that can help us defend from those threats. And by the way, investing in supporting those companies can provide very interesting returns. So that's why we are here.
Totally agree, and probably all of the panelists here share your vision. Alicia, how about you, who you are, and why cybersecurity for you and LG Nova?
Thank you so much. So my name is Alicia Hanf, and I'm with LG Nova, which many of you here are probably very familiar with LG Electronics. We're the North American Innovation Center for LG Electronics, located in Santa Clara, California. And at LG Nova, our mission is to transform communities, to partner with startups, governments, cities, organizations, really for the betterment of our community. So LG stands for Life's Good, and that's our mission. Over the last 3 years, we've brought in just around 5,000 startups into our ecosystem that we're looking to collaborate with, mostly in the areas of AI, clean tech, and digital health. And as you can imagine, cybersecurity is a very important element for all of those companies. We also have an investment arm, and we have partners like NextEra Energy Investments, who they're heavily focused in cybersecurity. So we have a lot of partners within our ecosystem. Now, why cybersecurity is important to us, and really should be important to everybody. As you can imagine, whether it's the money in our banks, whether it's the energy to power the lights in the building, whether it's the healthcare that we receive, cybersecurity is such an important element of all of those things, because as people, as technology is advancing very quickly, so are threats, and we want to make sure that we're protected in some of the areas that matter to us the most.
Thank you so much. Damien,
Good
who are
afternoon.
you?
Good afternoon. I'm Damien Henault with ForgePoint Capital. ForgePoint Capital is one of the most prominent and leading venture capital fund focusing on VC, on cybersecurity and AI, headquartered in the Bay Area in San Francisco. We have over 1 billion assets under management, making us one of the largest and most active VC in the sector. Made more than 50 investments, around 15 exits or so, more than 30 active companies in the portfolio. And we have a unique bench of advisors with a global advisory council of 100 people, comprising world-renowned practitioners, experts, CEOs. We have, for instance, the CEO of Sophos, founder of Tenable, and many, many others. And it's with great pleasure that I'm announcing today something that was in the news this morning. Our commitment to Europe is so strong that I'm very extremely pleased to announce the launch of ForgePoint Capital International and the opening of our European hub out of London, with presence in Madrid and in Paris, to invest in cybersecurity and AI opportunities across Europe, Latin America, and Israel. So why cybersecurity? Obviously, that's the core of what we do. I think cybersecurity has evolved from being more of a tactical IT room or boardroom concern to being a boardroom concern. The stakes are much higher. The consequences for company financially, reputationally, as such that we cannot avoid that. This is mission critical. This is the one area of IT budget which is not cut and see growing double digits. So we believe the underlying market are extremely strong. And I would add to that, why Europe? Why international? So the talent in R&D and innovation in this area in Europe, notably in Spain, in France, Germany, and other regions, the UK, is second to none. Nothing to envy to Silicon Valley. We need to find that talent and help that talent scale with appropriate, industrialized go-to-market processes and so on, and scale globally. Proof in the pudding, and we've invested a lot already in the region before ForgePoint Capital International, notably in Spain. We were an investor in Alien Vault, founded by Julio Casal.
Yeah.
Then we reinvented his next company, Constella Intelligence.
Stella, yeah.
We invested actually with our partners initiative because we're launching ForgePoint Capital International with the support of Banco Santander. We invested in Linux technology focusing on financial crime prevention based on AI. And also we invested in companies like BehavioSec in Sweden, sold to LexisNexis, and even in Croatia, Reversing Labs, a company we helped growing from Croatia to being one of the leading force in software supply chain security in the US and globally. So again, very pleased to announce with the support of Santander the launch today of ForgePoint Capital International. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Damien. And Cristobal, how about you, who you are, and why cybersecurity?
Yeah, I think we are the feeders to these guys on the right. We are the early stage investor out of Estonia, almost 500 investments in our portfolio, 40 of them in cybersecurity. We started investing in cybersecurity in 2018. Actually, our first investment in cybersecurity in 2018, a Turkish company we exited this year. Why cybersecurity? I think it's very clear. We're coming out of Estonia. We're probably the most digital country in Europe, maybe even in the world. So as a country, we need a line of defense that is digital. And our attacks into our borders are not through tanks, although they're also there, but we're basically constantly attacking our digital infrastructure. The thing we have within our heritage, cybersecurity as a line of defense. Secondly, we are very used to work with these product guys that don't know how to sell a product. So I think on the comment from Damien, the talent is immense, even more in Eastern Europe, also going to Southern Europe. There's a lot of talent how to build products, but we need to teach them, or we need to coach them how to sell these products and how to scale the sales. I think that's why we are particularly investing in early stage cybersecurity as a fund, and that's what we do well. And then after that, we do well, and these guys will come and put the Series A and Series B in our companies afterwards.
Thank you so much, and I'm glad that pretty much everybody shared the vision that cybersecurity today is an opportunity, but also you invest in companies expecting future growth. And talking about future growth, what's your opinion about the growth of the market? Where are we going here? And why is this a good opportunity for your different vehicles to invest in cybersecurity? So I don't know, let's start with Cristobal, because it's the one that is going to feed you guys with all the startups that he's backing up with the investment fund they have over there.
Yeah, I think probably we have very similar views, but I will just give two that to me. One is the scope of cybersecurity is much larger than it used to be. The first one actually is the SMB. So it used to be a very enterprise-focused market.
Yep.
And now the market is way bigger because the SMB market is being attacked, is being under threat at the same level or even greater. So I think the market has become much larger, which means also the surface attack is much bigger because of the integration, the supply chains. You said it before, it's not anymore an industry. It's an industry across every industry, right? So we say the market is much bigger, the interconnection is much bigger, and the opportunity with SMB means that it's less dependable on distribution as it used to be for the enterprise, and there is much more direct into the companies of the SMB market that allows a lot of more startups to probably enter the space. I think that's one of the biggest opportunities, apart from obviously with the whole AI, machine learning, et cetera, it's creating a probably faster development. But also, by the way, the bad guys also have access to the same technology, which probably, again, makes the need for solutions much more important and much more urgent than it used to be. And I think Damien said something very nice, which is, it's not anymore in the IT arena, it's in the boardroom as CEO arena, which is actually responsible to their own board as shareholders about what are you doing about cybersecurity. That has put a completely different ballgame of budget availability, importance, and talent being disposed to this area.
Thank you so much. And following the funnel of the investment, maybe Alicia, because you cover pretty much all from early stage to pre-IPO with your LG Nova venture capital. What do you think about the future of the sector and the future of the opportunity for investments here?
Yeah, thank you. I really just want to piggyback off of what the two of you said, because I think you're right. You know, cybersecurity is really like a market of markets now, or really a sector of sectors, where in the past we might have seen, you know, very specific cybersecurity companies, very specific uses, but now everybody is starting to realize that cybersecurity is for everyone and should be. Something else we're seeing with a lot of startups, regardless of the industry that they're in, is they're having cybersecurity memos. And so we're starting to see startups even at the earliest stage, and really they should be. If you're developing a product, you should have a security element, be creating that and have a process for that, even at the earliest stages of your business. I think another thing that is interesting is traditionally we've seen, even in times of economic downturn, we're still investing into cyber, we're still making sure that we're secure. So even as people, I know especially in the US right now with the election coming up shortly, people are really skeptical about what the investment and financial market is going to look like. And I think with cybersecurity, it's one of those areas where we'll consistently see people doubling down and continuing to invest in there. And then as you mentioned, with AI is really making it so that people can scale much faster. As solutions are being created faster, we know that also problems are being created faster, but we're seeing AI being able to increase the ability to respond to threats, the ability to automate some of the defenses against threats, which we didn't necessarily see in the past.
That's super good. And I don't know, Carlos, do you share what Cristobal and Alicia are telling? Do you want to add to the topic? Yeah, go for it.
Always something. First, so when we started investing, cybersecurity market was worth 50 billion, 70 billion worldwide. Now it's close to 200.
Wow.
Right? So, and at that time, people were wondering if the 2 digits growth year on year would be sustainable. We actually accelerated, right? So 200 billion. But what's driving this? Cybercrime. Yeah. And when we look at cybercrime, it's not measured in billion, the impact. It's measured in trillion, right? So I believe we still have some room to grow. Some say that in 5 years we will be on $500 million market, right? So that's what drives us, right? It's really a huge market, and it's fundamental. Currently, and to the point of resilience, it's true that the VC market corrected in terms of allocation during the last 2 years, but it was quite surprising to see that the M&A activity in cybersecurity stayed flat at around 80 billion per year.
Oh, wow.
Right? So this means what? That there is a huge demand for cybersecurity companies from the main vendors because they basically are acquiring innovation through buying startups, right? So this means that we have a market, right? And so despite these fluctuations on the early stage capital allocation, we are really positive on the outlook for the sector.
That's good. And Damien, what do you think about the topic?
I think, thank you. So a lot of the foundation of what I'm going to say has been, set up by my esteemed panelists. So I think, as both a sector specialist and an investor, I like to set the stage with a couple of numbers. And echoing, what has just been said is basically, the market is poised for growth because there's an asymmetry between, on the one hand, currently the addressable market globally for cybersecurity is roughly $200 billion. Half of that is services-led, half of that is product-led, roughly growing at 10-12% per annum or so in the next 5 years. Compared to that, as Carlos said, we have trillions of costs basically for the companies vulnerable, victim of attack basically. So trillions, 200 billion basically. So that asymmetry, that sheer number basically shows why the underlying market is poised for growth. By the way, Europe represents about 25% of that total pie basically. Then responding to another comment was really interesting around, it's an area where you cannot stand still because the attack side goes as fast, if not faster, than the defense side. So you need to always innovate and so on. I take an example of AI, which is a kind of double-edged sword, because AI has been early adopters of AI in cyber were the attack side, and the attacker were early adopters on that front. So we have to respond to that basically. And AI helps, as you said, Alicia said, to fight the biggest enemy of cyber, which is false positives. You want to basically have less noise, more signal, because I think as the data flows are growing, you need to really be able to calibrate and isolate noise from signals. So that's AI historically. Then moving on to the next craze with Gen AI, again, I think the conversation has evolved because AI embedded in cyber for years. I've been investing in cyber company with an AI engine for many years. But the conversation has shifted from securing AI as opposed to AI for security in the case of Gen AI. Because, with LLM, large language models being more prevalent, there are vulnerabilities, especially when you adopt, open source large language models, basically. A number of these models available on repositories, maybe 60% of them have vulnerabilities embedded. So you need to secure, AI, which is very relevant. The last point, because I could speak for all the afternoon about areas of growth, but the last point I would basically pick on terms of growth is the point that was made, earlier by Cristobal about the underserved, basically, market on SMB. It's true that historically, cybersecurity was for large enterprises with defined SLA, and you have system integrators on the services side and so on, large vendors who were neglecting SMB layer basically, but they have need as well, even probably more so, even more vulnerable. Sometimes they don't even have an IT person basically, or barely. So an example of that, because I always like to use example, we have invested in a company in our portfolio in the US called Hanf. Hanf basically was an early-stage investment, and it grew from being, one of the first, very good execution, focusing on these SMB and mid-enterprise kind of level, and they grew in the last 4 years to over 100 million of ARR, showing that there is a clear market for these, basically. So from early stage to really growth stage, and that's our ambition and something we want to replicate, finding the same kind of success stories in the region in Europe, that time in Israel, basically.
That's great.
I can just have.
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Just picking on the 25% European quota, right? Because this is really something interesting for Europe. 7-8 years ago, we were talking about probably 10%, less than that. What does it mean that Europe now is worth 25% of 30% of the market? It means that any startup that wants to become a worldwide category leader needs to come to Europe. First. Second, that the ones US market that was basically almost the full market.
Yeah.
Now, of course, it's still very relevant, but we also have a decent market here in Europe. So maybe we should think on this and on the dynamics that this will bring.
So the market needs moving. It's a good opportunity because of the numbers, of the growth, and also because new technologies are coming here, and because of cybercrime. I think Carlos mentioned that. Cybercrime is number one. I think if cybercrime was compared to GDP of a country, it would be one of the biggest countries in the world. So the dimension of cybercrime is huge. That's the reason why there's opportunity there. Any company that finds a solution to prevent or to solve whenever you are under a cyber incident, there's an opportunity there, no doubt. You've been talking of different technologies here. This ENISE, this edition, is focused on AI, of course, because it's the big name since ChatGPT showed up last year. What do you think of the new technologies is going to impact cybersecurity and the best opportunities you see with those new technologies in order to invest or to look for startups in those kind of niche? Cristobal?
Well, I think Damien kind of hinted a little bit about it. First, again, AI is being used for more than a decade by most of the startups.
One question there. AI is real or is just a buzzword that everybody needs to have AI in order to get the attention to investors?
You like numbers, I like history. So AI was first mentioned in the Dartmouth in, I think it was 1955. So it's not a buzz, right? I think what has created is that basically ChatGPT has become the first application that allows the consumer to have a taste of AI at the tip of their hands, right? But in the IT side, in the technology side, it's been used for a long time,
yeah.
Right? Of course, the speed is going, and what it has happened in the very near being intelligent as a human, we're getting to that point. So obviously, the technology is accelerating, but I think AI is there. Right? And I don't think anybody in cybersecurity building technology edge will be able to do it without AI in the future. So I think AI will be embedded everywhere.
Yeah.
So I think the only thing here is about who is going to be most efficient using it. So I think the whole thing is about, can most startups, when they don't have the amounts of money that the big guys will have, make efficient use of AI and make it cost efficient? And that to me is where we're going to find, as investors, in the very early stage, the startups, the bets that we're going to make is these guys can make it a very efficient, cost-efficient AI. There's not going to be a much better usage because the big guys are going to be there.
Yeah.
And then it's the application layer. Can these guys actually make an application layer for an SMB user that is actually useful? I think so. The application layer is the second one, I think, in cybersecurity can be that. I don't know about the enterprise, although maybe also, but specifically the SMB is the application layer that is going to be played. But it's not a buzz, but everybody will have it. So it will not be a distinction. So there will be people talking, oh, we have AI. Yeah, of course. So I think we will stop using that in the next 12 months.
So you mean that for now it's like the new thing to have, but within maybe months, not so long far, it's going to be a commodity?
I think if you don't know how to use it well, you will not be on the game.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
And if you use it well, they will ask you, then why are you different? And you cannot say because I use AI. No, you will have to still go about what is your distinction, your differentiation.
How about you, Alicia? LG Nova is the corporate venture capital of LG Electronics, a very well-known brand worldwide. You are a vendor and a manufacturer of devices. What do you think of the new technologies, and why do you think that's going to move in cybersecurity there?
Yeah, I won't speak directly for LG or LG Nova for this question, and really just like putting on my investor and my ecosystem hat, okay. Because we do see about 1,500 companies a year. I've also launched an accelerator previously in 37 cities globally, so it took about 2,000 entrepreneurs through these programs, and still have also been an investor. And so we see a lot in AI. And one thing I would say, and I was having a conversation with the gentleman earlier with an organization called CyberEcho, crypto. And he was saying how all of these things now are buzzwords. And so don't have AI for AI's sake. You know, we have companies that are like, oh, we're AI and we're cybersecurity and we're quantum computing. And it's like, okay, get out. Like you're trying to put all the buzzwords together in order to get an investment. Going back to history now, if you look at AI has been around for a very long time. And so if you look at even In-Q-Tel's portfolio, and they published something on this recently, but they've been investing for over 10 years in companies that are high performing within their portfolios in AI. They just might not have been calling them AI all of these years ago. They might have been calling it something else, but AI has certainly been around. And so I think really understanding if you're a startup and you think the only way to get investment is to just throw AI into the mix, I would say that that's not really smart. A lot of people are doing that and getting funding. Something that this makes me think of is also with cryptocurrency and specifically with NFTs. That was such a huge buzzword and a lot of people got investments, but we sort of ruined cryptocurrency in the minds of a lot of people, and also with NFTs, which had a lot of utility. And crypto in itself, for what it stands for, is a great resource and a great way to. There's so many things you can do with crypto, but so many people started to use it for everything in a very buzzwordy capacity, which really took away of the effectiveness of it. And so I would just say, when it comes to AI and some of these other things, if it makes sense and you can actually implement it correctly, use it, but you don't need to do that just for AI's sake.
Thank you so much. Carlos, how about you? Technologies, what's going on there, what investors are looking for?
First of all, I think that every startup now has AI. At least they are saying that, so probably they have it, right? So
you just go and walk through our exhibition area and just ask, do you have AI? Yeah,
everyone
of course.
has AI, right?
Yeah.
So the question is, what are exactly they doing with it?
Yeah,
right?
true.
And more importantly, what's the advantage that they have that will keep them doing a really different thing in the market going forward? Because access to LLMs to provide some sort of interface, it's easy, right?
Yeah.
To think on how to use it on the core engine of the product that they have, it's something different. To what has been said previously, it's then critical to think on efficiency, because it will have costs. Will it be cheaper than the previous solution? Let's see. But some are being able to address that. So the next question in line is, what will keep you in the forefront of that? Is the data that you are using to train the model? Is the access something special, right? So the world, the fundamental things in applying new technology will not change. So yes, we have a new technology. There's the ways to employ it in the best way possible, but we still need to think on why will we be the best on applying this kind of technology.
That's
right?
Actually, it is, I mean, not only you need to apply technology, you need to apply technology in a way that adds value, and you can capture that value and convert into money, then you have a business, and you have a business, you have your attention, guys, in order to invest and keep it, and scalable, of course. Damien?
I totally agree with that. I think, again, at the end of the day, cybersecurity and AI are about data. And so for the last 10 years, I've been investing in companies in cyber who have been, powered by AI or machine learning. So I think we'll separate AI from Gen AI, and so the foundation to the buzzword and so on to set the stage. And as far as that is concerned, I think for me, AI, as you said rightly, for the sake of it, has no value. It's AI applied to something. So the best way to illustrate that is, I can mention a couple of prior investments. I invested in a company called Onfido. Onfido was using AI to basically verify ID in real time for the purpose of onboarding people for KYC and so on. So that's basically AI applied to ID verification is a concrete use case. Another example is a company called Cyberangel. Cyberangel was basically using AI to scan the deep and dark web and be able to expose some potential vulnerabilities and allow takedown before it's too late and before it costs millions, basically, to corporates and companies vulnerable of that. So, or even more recently, I mentioned before the Links technology investment we've made, as a first co-investment with ForgePoint and Santander Group. Links Technologies applies AI at scale to detect in quasi-real time financial crime, and potentially prevent it, basically. So that's AI applied to something very concrete. The stakes are enormous. It takes normal tools weeks or days to do so, and a company like Link Technology can do that in quasi-real time. So again, AI is just a means to an end, basically. So I would say, cybersecurity being such a critical area, all the new technologies and buzzwords are going to converge in that. So I think what's next, the next frontier after AI is quantum. Because a famous investor said 15 years ago, software is the word, and then now we say AI will save it. And then what happened with quantum? Again, double-edged sword. It will basically open an immense number of possibilities on the attack side if they have access to the qubits and the computers, question mark, and on the defense side, basically, as well. So I think, all these new technologies are converging. Cyber is at the really center point of this evolution, and have always to be, listening to and just anticipating what's happening next. So AI is one of the many aspects that we drive and shape, cybersecurity in the coming years, and make it a very exciting area to invest in.
We are almost out of time, so one last question for each one of you. I'm going to start with Carlos, Alicia, Damien, and Cristobal. Super short tips for startups that they are here or maybe watching us on streaming on what to do to catch your attention and what you are looking for. Super short, please.
Okay. Be super clear about how different you are from all solutions in the market. Be radically different from what already exists. Think on going global from day one, and the key geographies that can help you to prove your the position or the leading position in the market. Let me just end with a very good note.
10 seconds.
That is,
no
I
pressure.
think for European startups, it's very good to know that now we are in another context that brings us much more driver to build very focused applications to the threats we are facing, and on the other side, that we have a bigger market for expanding before going to other geographies.
Okay, Alicia, super short.
Yes, so very clearly articulate your value proposition. What is the problem you're solving? Who are you solving it for? And why do we care? Is the problem big enough, and can you scale it? And also, as far as scaling it, can you adapt with how fast technology and threats are changing? Your team, we're investing in you and your team and your ability to execute on the plan that you put in place. Do you have the right team in place to make sure that you can execute on this investment?
Thank you so much, Damien.
Very quickly, so I think it's really one tip: walk on two legs. Obviously, as sector specialists, we expect basically the IP and technology of the product to be very strong and differentiated. But at the end of the day, we're not about just lab and idea, and especially true for European companies who tend to value a lot the technology. Think about the go-to-market and execution. The technology and the product has only value if well executed. So great to think about technology, especially in early days, but think about what's the end game, how are you going to scale, what's the go-to-market strategy, and make it a business.
Thank you. Cristobal, please.
Spanish perspective, please don't pitch in Spanish. have a company that can go in English. Don't use LATAM as your destination just because they speak Spanish. Really think way more global. I would say everything that was said here, but one thing is about the team. The team is not 5 pictures, so be able to say why your team is special and why your team can execute. And do you have any proof that they have executed in the past? And please think long term. Have a 10-year vision. Especially early stage, you don't exit in 2 years. You exit likely in 10. So be ready for that and be ready to prove that your team is ready for that journey and actually excited about that journey. I think is very important.
Thank you so much, guys. Big applause for all of them, please. And if you want to contact them and send the deck, LinkedIn is perfect. Thank you so much. And I'm going to have Maria Eugenia to present you the next panel. Thank you so much.
Thank you.